Hook, Line, and Splitter, the Jersey Shore BlueClaws podcast is presented by NJR Home Services, your New Jersey heating and cooling experts, bringing you high heat and cool savings. Our guest 2021 BlueClaws catcher, Logan O'Hoppe, began the year with the BlueClaws, finished it in the Arizona Fall League, and that's where we're going to start. Logan, welcome. How are you?
Thanks, Greg, for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing real well.
Awesome. So Logan's down in Florida getting ready for the season. How's the weather down there? It was 22 degrees here yesterday.
I was just going to say it's much warmer than New York. Missed the family a bit, but I am much happier to get some good weather.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to start in Arizona because I don't know if that was a goal for you to get out there. You had a great fall out in Arizona against some of the better prospects in baseball. You were one of the younger guys out there. What was that whole experience like this past fall for you?
It was great. It was much different than anything I had gone through before. And it was a goal of mine at the start of the year. I'd always thought about doing that, and it's something I wanted to go do since I was in high school. I saw it on MLB Network when they used to broadcast the games and stuff like that. And it was a great experience. You know, you got to meet some really great people out there and build some good relationships with some really great brains and good people. So I really enjoyed that, and I wish that 6 weeks didn't end.
Was there an adjustment period for you that, I know you had been a little bit in Reading, a little bit in Lehigh, but not a ton. Reading got shut down for a week, not because of an opponent, so you missed some time there. Was there an adjustment, with some of the older pitchers that you were facing and the older pitchers that you were catching?
In the fall league, you mean?
Yeah.
In the fall league, it was different more so because guys came from different organizations and different organizations have different philosophies and different ways of thinking. So I wouldn't say age was the challenge. I think more so the different ideas were the challenge that I had to really open my mind and adjust to. And I'm really grateful I got that experience too, because you learn a ton. Obviously you learn a bunch here at the Phillies too, because there's so many great people around, but it is great to get different perspectives and learn some new things. So I got a lot out of that 6 weeks.
Anthony Contreras was your manager there. At some point during that period, he gets hired by the Phillies, and he's going to manage Lehigh Valley this year. So you might well get to work with him again. What was your connection like with him?
AC is great. From day one, I loved playing for him and loved what he was about, and he's a perfect example of a really great dude that you got to meet and build a good relationship with. And I still talk to him even now and keeping in touch with him and hearing about his family, and I know his son's starting to get into catching, which is always exciting. So stuff like that, man, I loved him and loved playing for him, and I'm looking forward to working with him here with us.
When did he tell you that he was coming to the Phillies?
Midway through, man, I had heard something about it the day before he made the announcement. I think it was through social media or something, and then he walked in because in the fall league everyone wears their organization's uniforms, and he was wearing Padres stuff the whole way. And then he walked out of the office in red, and I was like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Look at this guy." So that's how I found out, and it was a pretty fun moment.
That's pretty funny. And then you got to play here at Jersey Shore for a month with Bryson Stott. You finished the year with him in Lehigh Valley. You played again with him in the fall league. You guys both had outstanding years, April through October, November. What kind of relationship do you have with him? And it must have been cool to be able to begin the year with Bryson, finish the year with Bryson at three different spots.
Yeah, absolutely. Stotty's my guy, man. Stotty's my guy. Spent a lot of time with him this year. May have annoyed him by the end, but no, just kidding. But we lived together in the fall league too, and he's great, man. I feel like he's a perfect example of surrounding yourself with the right people. He surrounds himself with certain people in particular that feel like will make him grow, and that's something that I try to take after as well. And being around him, I feel like makes us better. We feed off each other. So whether that's baseball or off the field or anything with life. So he's a dude that I'm very happy to have in my corner.
So you begin the year with the BlueClaws. You're here through third week of August, give or take, and then you go up to Reading, how did they tell you that you were getting promoted, and did it kind of catch you off guard, or what was your reaction there?
Yeah, it completely did. I had caught in Wilmington that night, and I think the game went like 13 or 14 innings. And I was really really exhausted after that. And Tank called me in, but he said, he goes, "Hey, I want to go over some video with you." And I love going to work, and I love doing what we do, but a video session after a 14 inning game did not sound like the most enjoyable thing. So I was like, all right, man, like whatever you need me to do. And he called me in and he started talking about an adjustment that we were trying to make on the field. And then he gave me the news, and I should have known, being with Tank in Australia and most of the year in Lakewood, that he was just messing with me. But I was completely caught off guard, and it was a couple minutes that I'll never forget about the year.
It was a 13 inning game that you won 9-8.
That was it. That was it.
So I know we'll come back to Reading and Lehigh in a second, then, but you mentioned Tank. You had a relationship with him from playing a couple of years prior for him in Australia for the Adelaide Giants. You get to work with him again with the BlueClaws in 2021. What's your relationship like with him, and how has he helped you improve as a player in the multiple seasons that you played for him?
Yeah, he's helped me become more of a better person than a better player. And I think not just me, but I think a lot of people could say the same thing about Tank. He's a dude similar to Stott and AC, like we're talking about, that is just a good person to surround yourself with, because he's the kind of person that makes you better. And he's been great, man. That was the only negative to getting promoted to Double A, was leaving Tank and not having him around every single day, and the rest of the staff. But luckily enough, I got pretty close to them, and still am to this day, and can't wait to get back to the States.
How did you, you were one of the younger players in Double A and Triple A by the end of the year. What did you learn from that experience that will help you moving forward?
I think just experience itself, walking into different locker rooms and playing against different faces, because especially in Jersey towards the end, you saw some similar faces, and got to know some guys pretty well that you were playing against. So the challenge of facing new guys was pretty exciting, and I got a lot from that. So I feel like that's the biggest adjustment, is seeing just new guys, not necessarily age, just guys with completely different stuff than you've seen before. But it was a great challenge.
So we went to a game in Lehigh at the end of the year. I think it was the last week, and take a walk out toward the bullpen in left center to kind of flag you down and say hello, and you're not there. And then we realized, well, he's probably in the dugout. Head back towards the dugout, and you were glued to Aaron Foltz for the duration of the game. He's up there working with the pitchers. Obviously, he's a pitching coach for the Iron Pigs at the time. When you sit there in that spot with Foltzy, or with whatever the pitching coach is, what are you trying to glean? What are you trying to learn? What are you watching, and what are you trying to gain from that?
Well, with Foltzy, I'd been lucky enough to work with him at the alt site in 20. So I was catching up with him when I got up there, but during the game, I really like how Foltzy goes about things, and I really like how his brain works. So I'm just trying to pick his brain, and without getting in the way of any decisions he may need to make. And that was probably, if I were to guess, the conversation that went on that you had seen. And then if I'm having a conversation with Foltzy off the field, we're probably just messing around. But when it's time to go play, then I'm definitely picking his brain, because he's got a good one.
Yeah, he's a great guy. One thing I meant to ask before, so I'll circle back. Australia, what was the coolest part for you about playing in, forget the baseball, but being in Australia for whatever it was, 2-3 months there in that off season going into 2020?
Yeah, I was there for 3.5 months. So it was a pretty good trip. It was a long one, but the coolest part was very similar to this year, experiencing not only a new clubhouse, but a completely different culture. I felt like they do things differently than we do over here, and it taught me how to have a little bit of fun with what I'm doing, because it's a little bit more laid back there. Their whole way of life, I'm saying, not the baseball aspect of it, but their whole way of life is more laid back. And it was another challenge, because I've said this before, but when I was younger, I tend to take things too seriously. So I think that Australia happened at the perfect time in my life, where it taught me to kind of take my foot off the gas and enjoy myself a little bit. And I'd love to go back one day, but for right now, I'll definitely just use what I learned from over there over here.
Was it a culture shock? I know that, New Yorkers are very, on the gas pedal, very intense. It's got to be a culture shock, especially because at the time you're probably only 19.
Yeah, it was. I was 19 going over there, and it was a shock. The hardest part was that I like to eat, and I know that in other places the portions aren't so big, so I spent quite a bit of money over there trying to stay full. But once I adapted, it was all right.
Did you jump at the opportunity when they said, "Hey, you want to go play in Australia this winter?" We're like,
absolutely. Yeah.
You were all in right away.
I was. Yep, I was.
Do you still follow the Giants there? Some of your old teammates are still playing. They played this weekend.
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do. A lot of the kids that are playing now are this year, and I don't know. I know it's the league isn't happening over there, but they just had some exhibition games or whatever. But a lot of the kids that were playing were development kids when I was over there, so I stayed in touch with those younger guys, and it's exciting to see them play at that level and how much they've grown. I feel like guys went from boys, and now I'm looking online, and now they look like men out there. So that's a fun part of it to see.
They have Ricks and Wingrove. They have one or two Phillies guys too that'll be over here hopefully at some point this summer. The BlueClaws. So opening night, you'll always be in the BlueClaws history books because you hit the first home run in Jersey Shore BlueClaws history. Do you remember the pitch?
I do. Yeah, Elvis Peguero's a heater, and just closed my eyes and got a good swing off.
Yeah, he throws hard. Everybody they had threw hard.
Yeah, that staff was pretty good. That was always a good challenge going into those series.
Now your family ended up with that ball, right?
They did. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but yeah, that's their battle to fight for sure.
Where is the ball? On like a cousin's mantle or something? Do you know?
Yeah, right. It's somewhere in the house. I'm not sure where it is, but I know they got it.
How often did you have family at the games? From Long Island, a couple hours, but I know you had some family from around here too.
Yeah, they came quite a bit, which was great. I'd say probably every other homestand. I mean, every other homestand, at least somebody was there, whether it was a cousin, a friend, parents, whatever. It was great. I didn't take it for granted, and luckily in the Philly system, a lot of the affiliates aren't too far from home, so hope that can stay rolling going forward. But it was great. I love having them there, and they enjoy it too, no matter how I play. So it's always good to have familiar faces in the crowd.
I want to ask you about some of the Phillies guys that you caught this year at any level, but best fastball.
Best fastball was probably Blake Brown or Zabala.
Blake Brown or yeah.
I know that. Yeah, I know that's pretty in the Philly system, at least. In the fall league, I got to catch some pretty good arms too, but in our system, those are the two that stick out.
Best curveball.
Tyler McKay's slider was really good when it was on, and Hans Krause's cutter is one of the best pitches I've been lucky enough to catch. I think, yeah, those two guys come up to mind as far as breaking balls go.
Krause was a new addition. He came over at the trade deadline from Texas. Best changeup?
Josh Hendrickson or Adam Leverett.
Adam Leverett. Yeah, one of them.
I know. I can't pick one. I got to pick two because
that's fine. One righty, one lefty, and then give us a kind of an under the radar pitcher that maybe he's been here, but you think could have a big year in 22.
Got a lot of guys. I think Brian Marconi will have a big year. He had a really good one last year, and every time he came into the game, it seemed like he always got the job done. So if he can just keep that rolling, then he's got some good things coming for him.
It began here, and then he was in Reading, I think, before Memorial Day. I think
he came up to Lehigh at the end as well.
Yeah. So you got through a lengthy year. Where do you think for you? What's the one area you can point to where you could definitively say, "Hey, I'm definitely better at this than you were on May 8th or May 4th when we opened.
Yeah, I feel like I got more comfortable in the box this year. Before this year, there was always that fear of failure or a little bit of overthinking going on in my head. But I'll never have it figured out. But I feel like I definitely made some strides at being able to calm myself down and become a little bit more comfortable in the box, just with my own thoughts in my head. Nothing external that anybody else can do. So I was really happy to feel that and trying to keep those cues in my head and in my notes. So if and when I need those this upcoming season, I can go back to them.
What kind of how detailed notes do you keep?
Depends on what I'm writing or what I want to keep in mind. Some are more specific than others, but as far as the hitting stuff goes, it's pretty detailed and in length because that's how my brain works. I'm pretty analytical with my thinking, but yeah, you give and take from what you get, and I feel like I build my own toolbox of things that can help me going forward.
What's the balance for you? Because this year you had, I think when the season opened, there were 17 pitchers or whatever it was on the roster, and you got to have notes and thoughts on approaches for all those guys, plus managing or plus hitting and everything that goes into that. But being a lead catcher, that's going to have to take priority in a lot of respects, working with the pitchers and calling games and game planning and all that stuff. How do you find that balance, leading into every game and on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it helps. It helps when you converse with guys off the field, and not so much about baseball, but about life and how they think about things. Because if I can learn how a guy thinks about certain things, then I can maybe tell him something in a different way than I could tell the next person that can benefit him. So those are the ways that I try to balance or try to learn those guys as quick as I can is conversations that are off the mound, and that seemed to help pretty significantly so far in my career.
Have you set some goals for yourself for 2022?
I have, yeah. Nothing too concrete, but just stuff to keep me in line.
Like, are they walk this amount of times, or just more?
Yeah, one of them
esoteric.
is I think it's going to be the constant my whole career is just to strike out less and walk more. I know that I got a taste of what that was like in the fall league, and that was great. So I'm going to try to build off that. But yeah, there's no specific numbers like I need to hit this or I need to hit that. It's just go out there and keep my thoughts consistent, and hopefully the actions will follow.
How important in your overall development was the experience last summer or 2 summers ago at what do they call it? Summer camp, alternate site there in in Lehigh.
Yeah, they were really great. Looking back, I got probably the most out of that experience out of anything I've been through in my career. And it introduced me to that staff at the big league level too, which was great. It made the transition to big league camp last year so much easier, and I'm looking forward to get back with those guys this spring, hopefully, if and when that happens. But yeah, those couple weeks out there were great and something that I think back to quite a bit.
Then you had the moment at Yankee Stadium there, right? That the one day in July before the exhibition game, and you had that video kind of go viral. Was that an eye-opening day? What was it like walking in there to Yankee Stadium and going in the players' entrance?
Yeah, that was great. It was pretty cool. I'd been in that stadium quite a bit, and obviously that was a day where I saw part of the stadium. I had it before, but yeah, it was really cool and something that I still look back on and try to appreciate. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You probably, well, no. Do you remember the old stadium? You weren't that old when it got knocked down. Probably what,
Vaguely,
8
yeah.
or so. Yeah,
I was 8 years old when it got knocked down, so I remember it vaguely.
And Ben, I know you went to a lot of games when you were growing up in the new stadium.
I did, yes, I did quite a bit. We went a lot in high school. We were getting the cheap seats in the bleachers, so it was good memories made at that place.
Have you seen more games there or at Citizens Bank?
Oh, definitely Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium,
yeah,
right? For sure.
I've played in Citizens Bank, whether it's a pre-draft or whatever, more. But I mean, I've definitely seen more games at Yankee Stadium.
And then my other question was, and we've talked about this before, how close were you to going to East Carolina coming out of high school in 2018?
Before my name was called, I was set on it, and I was ready to go to school, um, and my name was called, and the switch was flipped, and I made the decision, and I'm pretty happy with the decision I made because I wouldn't trade what I've experienced the past 3 or 4 years, however many it's been for the world.
No, I mean, you've had quite a wild run here, and it's only, I mean, you wouldn't have even, your senior year at ECU would be beginning. No, your junior year? What year would this be?
This
Yeah,
would
your
be
junior.
my senior year.
Yeah, this would be your senior, right.
With
Yeah,
COVID,
sorry.
it would be junior, but
Well, that's true,
yeah,
but
it would be
your
senior.
fourth year, you might have got drafted last year, who knows? But it's it's pretty crazy considering you would still only be a collegiate senior. Have you ever kind of sat back and kind of crazy how life works, right?
It is. It is. Yeah, I think about that a little bit because my sister goes to East Carolina, and I'm a twin, so she's a senior there now. So whenever I talk to her, talk about the school, I do think about that. But I mean, I love where life has taken me, and I'm excited to see where it takes me going forward.
Well, I don't want to keep you all day. You're in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Go enjoy a nice day here. We'll bundle up. It's 40 degrees. It was great to catch up with you, and continued success here in 2022.
Same here, Greg. Thank you so much.